minds over the years, and it is always a blessing to be able to have them to come and share with us in this time of celebration. Bishop, it's good to see you with us today, and to all of you who are with us today. I do want to go ahead and get down to business and try to make this book talk. It talks better if you talk back. If you talk back, you'll talk. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter number 4, I want to begin at verse number 7. 2 Corinthians chapter number 4, verse 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our mortal bodies. For we which live are delivered unto death for Jesus' sake, but the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So then death worketh in us, and life in you. We having the same spirit of faith, according as it is written, I believe, and therefore I have spoken, and we also believe, and therefore speak. I want to drop down to verse number 16, for which cause we faint not. Though our outward man, Lord have mercy, though our outward man perish, yet our inward man is renewed day by day. For our light afflictions, which is but for a moment, tell your neighbor that's what testimony comes from. But for a moment, which worketh for us a far more exceeding eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen, they're not going to be here long. But at the things which are not seen, they're eternal. I want to talk to you today about you have what it takes. I want to talk to you about grab somebody and tell them you have what it takes. If you really want to get country with them, tell them you got what it takes. Just tell somebody you got it. You don't know if you got it. There was a young lady by the name of Florence Chadwick. Florence Chadwick was a young lady who had swam the Catalina Islands, off the Catalina Island. This woman's sole intentions was to be the first woman who was to swim the 25 or 21 miles from the Catalina Islands back to the coast of California. Long distance was Florence's fame. Florence was a long distance swimming, and now she was the first woman to have swum the English Channel in both directions. But however, this day Florence was being tested, a test that she had never experienced, because the day she was swimming off of the Catalina coast, the water was somewhat numbing and cold, and it was so much fog out there that Florence could not even see the boat that was in front of her. So out there in the water, they would have to take out their guns and fire them, because there were sharks was floating as swimming all around her. For 15 hours she was out there, and she got so tired that she decided that she was ready to get out of the water, because Florence could not see her final destination. People in the boat said, Florence, keep swimming. You got what it takes. You got what it takes. Come on, you got it, Florence. Keep on. But somehow or another, Florence could not hold on, Bishop, because she could not see her destination. She was real close, but she couldn't see her destination. Her destination was just a few swims away. And because she could not see her destination, she gave up. I wonder tonight, this morning, and this evening, how many people in here, if they had only seen their destination, would they have given up? Because sometimes we give up just when we are almost about to go into our promised land. Now, some of us in here today would have given up a lot of times because we could not see our destination. We were so caught up in our departure until we could not see our destination. And I've come here to tell you, don't worry about where you come from. Just know where you're headed. Doesn't matter where you come from. Your departure may not be good, but your destination is going to be sweet. In other words, better is the ending of a thing than the beginning. In other words, you may have had a rough start. I come here to tell you on my way to heaven that you get ready to have a sweet ending. Because I want to tell you that I believe that God has put within all of us everything that we need to run this race. In other words, you do not have to try to be like no one else. You do not have to try to be a spiritual clone or a copy of someone else. Just grab somebody and say, be the best you. You have what it takes. God has put down in your DNA the ability to take a licking and keep on ticking. Even after heart surgery, you have what it takes. In other words, the best days are in front of you, and your worst days are behind you. Grab somebody and tell your neighbor, I got a holy hunch that you have what it takes. Paul, like a warrior tonight, helps us to see how many times in our own life that how like a warrior, that how warriors get thrown down by their enemies. But somehow or another they were able to stand back up. And yet somehow or another that God was able to give them the strength to rise back up and get back in the fight. Tonight Paul is going to help us to know tonight that no matter how difficult and distressful and discouraging your life may be, you do not have to live a life that is defeated and down. Paul is going to help us tonight that even though you may be knocked down, but you're not really knocked out. In other words, you may be down, but you're not permanently down. And there are times in your life that you ought to go on and tell somebody that it's a Kodak moment right now. Go ahead and take a picture of me tonight, because this is the last time that you're going to see me in this situation. And I want to know today, is anybody ever had a knockdown, but you were able to get back up? I want to talk to real people who had some situation where people counted you out and thought that you would never amount to nothing. Tell your neighbor that I got a feeling that God's getting ready to turn it around. God's getting ready to turn it around. God is getting ready to turn it around. I don't know about you all, but I found out that the true characteristic of a child of God is not that they fall down, but that they get back up. Every time they fall down. I just don't know about you all, but brothers and sisters, people will celebrate about when you fall down, but nobody will never throw a party when you get back up. Anybody in here that has got back up again? By the way, I want to tell you that God specializes in raising you back up. In other words, can I walk it out? Adam was down, and God lifted him. Samson was down, and God lifted him. Jacob was down, and God lifted him. Joseph was down, and God lifted him. Moses was down, and God lifted him. David was down, and God lifted him. Peter was down, and God lifted him. And got back up. That's what I like. I said he just got back up. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I got a feeling right now that God is getting ready to lift you back up. What eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. And by the way, if your haters are tripping on what you got now, your next blessing is going to put them in a coma. Because I feel a Mike Jones song coming up. Back then, they didn't want you. But now you're hot, they're going to be all over you. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm getting ready to get back up. Can you grab somebody and tell them you have what it takes? Second Corinthians chapter 4 reveals to us some phenomenal truths. Because whatever the phenomenal truths here in 2 Corinthians 4 of who we are and what we have and why we have it is who we are and what we have and why we have it. I said if they didn't say amen, say it again. It is who we are and what we are and why we have it. In other words, listen to how Paul opens this up. He said, therefore, seeing that we have this ministry, as we receive mercy, we faint not. Anytime you see the word therefore ever mentioned in the Bible, it is always suggesting to us that something was said before that therefore. In other words, if you want to know what therefore means, you have to first see what is there for. Let's see what it's there for. It's there for this purpose, seeing that we have this ministry. Paul says that this is what happened. He said we have this ministry. We have this ministry. Keep that in mind, that Paul said, I did not call myself into the ministry. He said, God put me into the ministry. Ministry is something that God has to put you in. Negroes cannot put you in the ministry because if they put you in it, they can take you out of it. But when God puts you in something, the devil in hell can't take it away. Look at your neighbor and say, that's what it's for. 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 And he said, if we receive this ministry, as we receive mercy, we faint not. Paul was really saying in actuality, Bishop, is that he wouldn't have never made it if God hadn't given him mercy. I want to tell you that Paul goes on to show us, because Paul is saying is that the reason why that you have what it takes. I want to tell you, because this text is quickly unraveling in my mind, I want to tell you why Paul says that we have what it takes, because he says, number one, you got to remember the contents that's in your container. Notice that he said, you got to remember. Can the church say, remember? You got to remember the contents that's in your container. Remember the contents that's in your container. Paul said, you got to remember, 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 you got to remember. And whenever you get down, you got something inside of you. It's got something called content. I want to tag them for just a moment as precious cargo. Everybody said precious cargo. I didn't make it up. He said, but, verse 7, but we have this precious cargo, but we have this treasure. Notice the treasure that Paul uses the word but. He uses the word but as a contrast between the glory of the gospel and the frailty in which the gospel has been put in. But we have this treasure, this precious cargo, this treasure. Can I work it out? Notice that Paul uses the word treasure. That Greek word, the Greeks called the word treasure thesaurazo. And he said, well, we have this treasure, this content, this deposit, this wealth of God's word living on the inside of us. We've got God verse number 6. The treasure is the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. I said, if they don't catch up, say it one more time. What is the treasure? It is the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. It's God's illuminating power. It's the transforming image of Jesus Christ living on the inside of you. It's God's word. It's the logos. It's the word of God. It's the power of God. Paul calls it the hidden treasures of wisdom and knowledge that's down on the inside of you. It's God's word living on the inside. Just make me feel like it today. Look at your name and say, it's called precious cargo. In other words, we got this precious cargo around every day. Walking around with it. We got God's word living on the inside of us. In other words, we have God's marvelous mercy. God's amazing grace. The peace of God overpowering victory. The authority of his word. The sufficiency of his love. The blessed assurance of his faithfulness. We've got God's precious cargo. But I want to show you that the text get a little tension, because I want you to see that not only does Paul talks about that we got this precious cargo, that we got this precious cargo, that we have this precious cargo. Now, here is the problem that I have with the text, is that where he puts his precious cargo, he puts it in perishable clay. Let me see, can I work this out? Precious cargo in perishable clay. Now, if I was God, because he said, I didn't make it up, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels. Can I preach it on? In earthen vessels. Precious cargo in perishable clay. Now, I want to show you why I wouldn't have, if I was God, I wouldn't have put my precious cargo in perishable clay. That's why I ain't God. But if I was God, I wouldn't have put my precious cargo in perishable clay, because I know how clay acts. I see how one piece of clay acts like they're better than another piece of clay. I see how one piece of clay won't speak to another piece of clay. I see how one piece of clay know the Lord been good to you, but you sit in church like DOA dead on the Lord. Come on in. Come on in. I see how one piece of clay see somebody sing, but you won't help them, because when you ain't singing and ain't got the mic, you won't sing. I see how one piece of clay see another man preaching, but you won't even say amen. All of us in here is clay. Look at your neighbor and say, hello, clay. Can I work it out? I said, can I work it out? But we have this treasure in earthen vessels. Perishable. Perishable. Why, Pastor Kite, would God put his precious cargo in perishable clay? It said we got this content, this deposit, this wealth in earthen vessels. The gospel of it is a treasure that he puts it in fragile clay pots. He puts it in fragile clay pots of humanity. God would choose to put his divinity into humanity. And knowing that God, Paul says, that he puts it in earthen vessels, because here is why God would do that. It's because earthen vessels, he says, clay jars, disposable containers, easily fragile, finicky. Why would God put his power, his word, in somebody that's got faults and frailties and fake and phony? And why would God put his precious cargo in perishable clay? When we sit in church and hold stuff against people, and then we get mad and go home and quit the church and get out of the ministry and got to learn not to speak to somebody, and then we trip with everything. If it ain't too hot, it's too cold. And why would God do such a thing? that's sitting up in here saying, neighbor, you need to know why he put it there. Why would God do that? This way I can give it to you in my own little imagination. Can I summons your senses and invite your intellect to look with me for just a moment of why? Can I summons your senses, invite your intellect to look with me for just a moment, because I got a feeling that right now that it ain't about the container. It's about the content. I think it ain't about the jar. It's about the jewels. I think it ain't about the package. It's about the possession. I don't think it's about the vessel. I think it's about the virtue. I don't think that it is, Jim. I don't think it's about the box. I think it's what's in the box. That Paul said we've got this treasure in the earthen vessel. I'm here for just a moment. Because look at your neighbor and say, you got what it takes, you got what it takes. Watch this. The reason why that you got what it takes is because we got this precious cargo, imperishable clay. Why? So that you and I could see that we got a powerful creator. I said, we got this perishable, we got this precious cargo in this perishable clay, so that you and I could see that we got a powerful creator. I didn't make it up. He says that we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God. The Greek used this word. The Greek had several definitions and meaning for the word power. One of them that Paul is talking about is dunamis. And dunamis is this English word dynamite. That Paul said that we've got this explosive power that's living on the inside of us. It's like a dynamite. If you don't hurry up, it's getting ready to blow up in there. Look at your neighbor and say, I got so much power, you better hurry up and run, because I got something that'll make you run when ain't nobody behind you. It'll make you cry when ain't nobody bothered. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I got something called power. Look at your neighbor and say, power. Look at somebody and shake their hand and tell your neighbor, I got a feeling right now. Even if you don't have no money, go ahead and shout on credit. Look at your neighbor and say, if you ain't got no money tonight, go ahead and shout on credit. We've got this power living on the inside of us. You'll feel better in a minute. Look at your neighbor and say, God's word is put inside of you. Watch this, brothers and sisters, that he puts his power, his word, in an individual that's weak and possibly can get wicked. Don't y'all see? I'm the only one that ever been wicked. And some of y'all just got back from wicked. Tell your neighbor, don't sit here and act like you ain't been weak before. And some of y'all know y'all been wicked before. But when you got God living on the inside, he can take your wickedness and your weakness and turn it into victory. God's power. God's power. God's power. Watkins, I said God's power. God's power can transcend your weakness. And so when God decides to use you, maybe the reason why you say God ain't using you is that you say the reason God is not using you is because you are too weak. But this may not be the problem. The problem is that the reason why that God cannot use you is not that you are too weak. You just ain't weak enough. use you when you're strong. God can't use you when you think you can do it without him. God can use you in your weakness. Come here, Paul. Paul, can God use you? Paul said, yeah, Brother Carter, he can use me. He said, you remember, Brother Carter, I went to God. And I told God that I had a weakness. This weakness was in my flesh. It was suggested, it was a thought. I don't know what the name of it. I can only tell you where it was. He said, I don't know what the name was. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know what Paul's weakness was. I don't know what Paul's weakness was, but I do know where Paul's weakness was. It's the same place where yours is at, in your flesh. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, don't trust your flesh. Your flesh ain't no good, because how many of you ever said, when I decide to do good, evil is always present? Paul said, only thing that I can suggest to you is that I went to God and I prayed 3 prayers, and he didn't give me my answer until the 3rd. He said, Paul, my grace. What my Sunday school folks? My grace is sufficient. And watch what else God said. Not only my grace is sufficient, but my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Then Paul said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that God can use me when I'm weak? That's why Paul said, mostly will I rather glory in mine infirmity, that the power of God might rest upon me. For when I am weak, that's when I'm strong. I want everybody in here right quickly to stand up real quickly. Everybody stand up real quickly. I want everybody to stand up real quickly. Now stand up real quickly. Now sit back down. The reason that I wanted y'all to stand up and sit back down is because I wanted y'all to come up out of what's been holding you all year long. Because some of y'all have been sitting here stuck in your seat, and it's time to get up and let God arise and let his enemy be scattered. Why don't you shake somebody's hand and say, he keep using me. He keep using me in my weakness. He keeps using me in my weakness. High five your neighbor and tell your neighbor, it's in my weakness. I'm out of here in a minute. But look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I got a feeling God can use you. And I want to show you another thing. That I know why you got what it takes is because, number one, you got to remember the contents that's in your container. And second, the reason why you got what it takes, you got to remain calm in your conflict. I said you got to remain calm. He said you got to remain calm. You got to remain calm. You got to remain calm. You got to remain calm, because he said we got some persistent care. We are troubled on every side. Y'all see that? We are troubled on every side. Watch this. We are troubled on every side. A lady in my church one time told me, Pastor, I don't never have no trouble. I don't never have no trouble. The reason why that you don't never have none, because when I was talking to her, she is the trouble. If you try to live right, you're going to have some trouble. Job said a man that is born of a woman is a few days full of trouble. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, that's why we sing trouble in my way. I have cried sometimes. Oh, so much trouble in my way. I had to cry sometimes. Well, little wicked now. So he said, trouble been going through one thing after another, but the only reason why you may be having so much trouble than other folks is because you can be trusted with trouble. Because all of y'all in here can't be trusted with trouble. Because some of y'all, when y'all start going through hell, you'll stay away from church. But there's another group of folks in here that can be going through hell, and they'll come in church and say something like this: I will bless the Lord at all times. Praise and continues to be in my mouth. My soul makes a boast in the Lord, and my heart shall hear thereof and be glad. Listen to how they talk. My soul makes a boast in the Lord. And then they keep on talking, and he goes on to say, the angels of the Lord encampeth all around about them. And then they not only keep on talking. The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. Come ye children and hearken unto me, and I will teach you to fear the Lord. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusted in him. Oh, the young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. Keep thy tongues from evil and thy lips from speaking. God, I've been young, but now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging. But wail on the Lord and be of good courage, for he shall strengthen your heart. Tell your neighbor, if you're going through trouble, shout your way out. Go on and tell somebody, shout your way out. If you catch in hell, shout your way out. Wait a minute, let's get the E flat in a minute. I don't know about you all, but look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I got a feeling that God's getting ready to bring you out. But you gotta remain. You gotta remain calm in your conflict. You got some persistent cares. Because Paul says, Dr. Kike, he said, we're troubled on every side. Now, trouble would be fine if it was one-sided. But look like trouble is all around us. And if y'all don't know what trouble are, it's at Pennsylvania Street in the Oval Office. You don't know who it is. You done got dumped by Trump. That's why the trouble is. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, we got trouble on every hand. We got trouble in the way. I'm sorry, you're sitting here looking at me now. I'm sorry, I ain't coming now. Trouble every way you can imagine. Every way you can imagine. He said trouble on every side. What is trouble? Trouble does the same thing for us that the morning that I had a conversation with my tea bag. I said, tea bag, do you really want to get in this hot water today? I said, tea bag, you really don't have to get in this water if you don't want it. It's trouble in this water. If I put you in this water, tea bag, you gonna burn to death. Tea bag said, Brother Carter, you really want what I got? The only way you can get what I got, you got to put me in the hot water, because the hotter it gets, the better. And how many of y'all been catching hell but look like you're going higher? I wish you look at somebody and tell your neighbor, I'm going higher because God's getting ready to take me higher. Can you shake somebody's hand and tell them, I got a feeling that if you holler with me, I'll holler back. Persistent cares. But here is Pastor Thomas, what I don't understand. That he says that I got to remain calm in the conflict. And I got all this persistent cares. Then he turns around and he makes a paradoxical comment. Now this is when it don't make sense, because he said, I'm troubled on every side. I'm about out of here. I'm troubled on every side. But this is what I don't understand. Yet not. Now I'm trying to figure out, you're catching hell, but got another to talk about yet not. I wonder if anybody in here got a yet not. a lot of folks want you to give up, but tell them, yet not, yet not, yet not, yet not, yet not. He makes a paradoxical comment. Now, let me see. A paradox is a statement that is seemingly contrary or opposite to the common sense, but yet it is perhaps true. A paradox is a statement that is seemingly contrary or opposite to the common sense, but yet it is perhaps true. A paradox is a statement that is seemingly contrary or opposite to the common sense, but yet it is perhaps true. A paradox is something that sometimes don't make sense, but it could have some truth to it. Let me show, can I work this out? I'm down, but I'm not out. Paradoxical. I'm losing, but I'm winning. Paradoxical. I'm crushed, but I'm content. Paradoxical. I'm beat, but I'm blessed. Paradoxical. I'm wounded, but I'm worshiping. Paradoxical. I'm limping, but I'm leaping. Paradoxical. I'm troubled, but I'm trusting. Paradoxical. I'm damaged, but I'm delivered. Paradoxical. I'm broken, but I'm believing. Paradoxical. I'm sad, but I'm shouting. Paradoxical. I'm hurt, but I'm healed. Paradoxical. It's bad, but it's all good. Paradoxical. It's rough as hell, but I feel rich. Paradoxical. I'm catching hell, but I got heaven in my view. Paradoxical. I wonder, is anybody up in here that can lean back and give God a paradoxical praise? You may not feel it, but let it come up out of your mouth. Look at your neighbor and say, oh, you gotta give God a paradoxical praise. We're perplexed, but not in despair. Happy anniversary. Thank you for letting me come. We're perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. But always bearing about. And Paul said, nay, in all things, we're more than conquerors. Many of the affliction of the righteous, but the Lord delivered them out of them all. And that's why it reminds me of that old song that old deacons from my little home church in Alabama. They said, I've seen the lightning flash. I've heard the thunder roll. I felt sin breakers dashing, trying to conquer my soul. But I heard the voice of Jesus saying and bidding me to fight on, because he promised never to leave me alone. And I'm out of here now. Thank you for allowing me. I've helped you long enough. Lord, why don't you turn around and tell somebody, say, neighbor, I got a feeling what the devil meant for your bad. Lord, I got a feeling that he's getting ready to turn it around. Yeah. Why don't you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I've got one thing to tell you. I wouldn't have made it if I didn't have what it takes. Why don't you grab somebody and put your arms around them and say, neighbor, hold on, help is on the way. Why don't you stand to your feet right quick?
I know the Lord will make a way.